actress Jean Harlowe, and Profits, men ahead of their time, to win $10,000 in cash if you were a contestant on Hitman. And now, here's the host of Hitman, Peter Tamarkin.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome everybody to Hitman. What do you think? You like it? Well, you know what we're going to do. We're going to make you instant experts once again on 2 more subjects after I got out of this clown outfit. Just like we did last time when we found out that Lady Astor once threatened to poison Winston Churchill. In fact, she said, if you were my husband, I'd poison you. Whereupon Churchill said, if I were your husband, I'd drink it. Well, we've got plenty more where that came from. I can get this all. But we're going to right now talk to our contestants who are right over here. And let's meet them now, starting with Johanna.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm just a little stuck, but go ahead, Johanna.
I was born in L.A. I'm a former account executive for an employment agency firm. Hobbies include skiing, crochet. I collect sterling silver, bells, and old books. And I love the racetrack.
You love the racetrack?
Love it.
You go there a lot?
Huh?
Is this a racetrack tie?
Well, definitely not turf club.
Let me at the track. Okay, let's go and meet our second player, Larry.
How are you, Pete?
How are you, Larry?
Just fine. I'm a commercial airline pilot. I like to act and sing, and I'm involved in community theater. I just finished a role as Professor Harold Hill in The Music Man.
Well, you got trouble, my friend. Trouble right here on Hitman.
You know it, too.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
I have a wonderful wife, 2 swell boys, age 15 and 12, which really doesn't qualify me as a father. It qualifies me more as a referee.
I understand. Well, welcome to Hitman. And let's meet Laura. How do you like this, Laura? Tell me.
It looks really cute. It really does. I'm a student majoring in English and Spanish, and I'd like to be either an author or teach children of military people overseas, and I collect unicorns.
Terrific. Good to have you with us. These are our 3 challengers. I'm the idiot host. And now, let's meet our champion, Sheila DeMarco. You like my tie?
Yeah.
You want to take it home?
If you can get it off.
If you win on the Triple Crown, you can have the tie.
Okay.
Is that a guy? What a guy. Okay. In just a minute, we're going to be showing our contestants and you out there our first story. And Sheila, you're going to be watching it from off stage. We'll see you at the end of round 1.
Okay.
And you'll get to come back and see me right after this.
All over America, dogs are...
All right, welcome back to Hitman. I have changed ties, folks. Now, all the questions we're going to ask in round 1 are going to be based on a story. The story of Jean Harlowe, platinum blonde on the silver screen. When studios cast movies, the accent is on talent. Jean Harlowe's big break came when the talent had an accent. You see, Jean had eloped and settled in Los Angeles. She began working in movies as an extra. She even did 2 with Laurel and Hardy. An agent saw her and introduced her to a man who was to become important in the city of Las Vegas. It was Howard Hughes. Wayne Newton wasn't born yet. Hughes was producing a $3 million movie about air warfare during World War I. The lead was a Swedish actress, Greta Nissen. When they discovered her accent wasn't right for the film, Harlowe was hired to replace her. Howard gave her only $250 a week. The film was Hell's Angels. In it, Jean Harlowe made Ben Lyon an offer he couldn't refuse. She said, "Will you excuse me for a moment while I slip into something more comfortable?" She didn't mean her sneakers. Her image was the girl who would make love to every man she met. She became typecast as a vamp. In a movie with Spencer Tracy titled Goldie, Harlowe was called a tramp. The audience was shocked, as it was the first time that word had been used on the screen. She parted with Hughes when MGM offered her $1,250 per week. Jean appeared in Red-Headed Woman, covering her platinum hair with a red wig. It was her first opportunity to do comedy, and the critics loved her. While at the studio, she met and married executive Paul Byrne. After his tragic and mysterious death, Harlowe's reputation suffered, but her box office remained strong. She starred in Red Dust with Clark Gable. Audiences got excited once again when she took a bath in a rain barrel and ordered her co-star to scrub her back. It was a hard job, but somebody had to do it. Harlowe got married to husband number 3. He was a cameraman who worked on several of her pictures. It only lasted 8 months. Jean got a divorce because he was jealous and red in bed. William Powell was next. He became her lover, and they decided on friendship instead of marriage. Before she completed the film Saratoga, Jean got very ill, and in 1937, at the age of only 26, she died. Hollywood had not seen a funeral like hers in 11 years, not since the death of Rudolph Valentino. The movie was completed with the use of Mary Dees, a double they used for long shots. The impact Jean Harlowe had on the screen has been felt for years. From Lombard to Lang, it all began with Harlowe. All right, that's our first story on old Jean. Our game is played in two very different rounds. In round one, our three challengers will be fighting it out in order to determine which two of them are going to go on to do battle with the reigning champion later on in round two. That's about as fast as Harold Hill would do it, wouldn't it? All right, we make the determination by running our little race, which means whichever two of you crosses that finish line first will be the two who get to go on and meet our champion in round two. The third place finisher will not get that opportunity, so it means 2 out of 3, which ain't bad. All right? Johanna, Larry, Laura, you know where the buzzers are? You sure? Okay, get your hands on them. Here comes your first question. Jean made movies with what comedy team? Johanna.
Laurel and Hardy.
You are right, Johanna. Laurel and Hardy's correct. You are the first one up on that ladder. Here we go with our second question. What was Harlowe called in the movie Golden? Johanna?
A tramp.
A tramp is right. Okay. Johanna's forging into the lead. Come on, Professor. All right. What did Harlowe's third husband like to do in bed? Laura?
Read.
Oh, that was close. You are right. It is Reed. Strange fella. All right. Here comes the question for all three. Name the man in Harlowe's life who met a tragic... Larry.
I'm going to say Howard Hughes.
But you would have been wrong, and you did say it, and you are wrong. And mysterious death is Paul Byrne. All right, Larry, we're going to turn your lights out. Okay, we're also going to turn your podium light out. And we're going to go over to Johanna and Laura and see what they can do. Here's your question. One Harlowe line was, will you excuse me for a moment while I... Johanna.
Slip into something more comfortable.
Certainly I will. Go ahead. Oh, that's the answer to the question. You're right. Okay, Johanna, you are 2 up on Laura, and Larry's back into the game. Okay, Larry, you've been punished enough. We're going to bring you back.
I hope so.
Here comes the question. Who was Harlowe's co-star in the movie Red Dust? Johanna.
Clark Gable.
Yes, it was Clark Gable. You are right, and Johanna, guess what? You are 1 step away from being our first winner. Isn't that exciting?
That's marvelous.
Okay. Okay. Here's the next question. Could put you over, Johanna. Howard Hughes was producing a movie about what war? Larry.
World War I.
When Jean met him, World War I is right. And Larry makes his move. All right. In what film did Harlowe get her first opportunity to do comedy? Laura?
The Red-Headed Woman.
You're right, Laura. We don't hear from you much when you do. You're right. Okay, Laura, put you ahead of Larry. At what age did Harlowe die? Larry.
26.
You are right, Larry. Now, even with Laura, Johanna is a lady in waiting, as it were. Here's the next question. In Red Dust, audiences got excited when Harlowe asked Gable to do what? Johanna?
She scrubbed her back.
Indeed, you are right, and you are first winner, Johanna. And that means you got yourself $300. Not bad for round one, and of course, you know what that means. You get to meet the champion in round two. So you can kind of contemplate that for a bit while we go to Larry and Laura to see who's going to join you. They are tied. Here's a question that could untie you, as it were. It's a kinky show. All right. Name the first Howard Hughes movie which Harlowe appeared in, Larry.
Hell's Angel.
You're right, and you're one up on Laura. Harlowe left Hughes to go to what movie studio, Larry?
MGM.
MGM is right, Larry, and you are now 1 step away from being our second winner. Came up out of oblivion, Professor. All right, Laura, you know there can only be 2 winners. This is an important question. Here it is. What did the critics think of Harlowe's performance in Red-Headed, Larry?
Magnificent.
They loved her magnificent. It is right, and you're our second winner, Larry. Well done. $200 for you. That means you are going to join Johanna in that fight against the champion in round 2. Well done. Laura, they were tough. You did well. You played well. I thank you for being with us, and we have some nice prizes for you. All right. We'll be back in just a moment to see just how well our 2 challengers do against that champion in round 2. Right after this.
Welchkins!
We're back for round 2 2 at Hitman with our 2 winners. We've got Johanna, $300 richer for coming in first in round 1, and Larry got himself $200 for coming in second. Well done. Now, round 2 is played entirely differently from round 1 because in this round, the challengers attempt to unseat the champion. Therefore, let's meet her one more time. Our champion of one day, Sheila DeMarco. How are you, Sheila?
Fine.
Good. You ready? Everything set? Does the baby feel okay?
Fine.
All right, well, without further ado, are you ready for our round 2 and our second story?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I am too. And it's a new story, and it is Profits, Men Ahead of Their Time. When you see a new product or invention, do you kick yourself and say, why didn't I think of that? Well, we're about to look at 3 men who never had to kick themselves because they were the ones who thought of things years before anyone else. If we had a time machine, we could go back to the year 1895 when H.G. Wells published his first novel. It was called The Time Machine, an Invention. In this work of fiction, Wells talked about space, which is 3-dimensional, and he defined time as the 4th dimension. Wells was a teacher, not a scientist. Yet in a later novel, he foresaw atomic warfare. Years afterward, an atomic scientist named Leo Szilard admitted that he figured out how to set up an atomic chain reaction by reading Wells' novel. Another writer who saw far into the future was the Frenchman Jules Verne. He's best remembered for 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, a novel about the power-hungry Captain Nemo and his submarine named the Nautilus. Verne wrote another novel called From the Earth to the Moon. The book was published in 1865, just about 100 years before astronauts actually made the trip. In it, men get into a capsule and are blasted into space by a giant cannon. The book ends with the men orbiting the moon with no way to get home. Still, many Parisians approached Verne and volunteered to fly in his capsule. Now, those Frenchmen would do anything to get out of Paris in the summer. This wasn't the first time Verne wrote about flight. His very first novel was about flying a balloon over the continent of Africa. In it, he described the balloon of the future, which used hot air to make itself rise. No wonder Tip O'Neill is so light on his feet. Our third great thinker also worked on the problems of flight. Leonardo da Vinci was the son of a lawyer from Florence, Italy. Best known for his paintings like The Last Supper and the portrait The Mona Lisa, Leonardo was also one of the great scientists of the 15th century. He studied the way birds flew, and he developed plans for an ornithopter. That's an aircraft that has wings that flap like a bird. It turned out not to be practical because no man was strong enough to flap the wings. Too bad he couldn't hook it up to Howard Cosell's jaw. Leonardo also thought of a pyramid-shaped parachute that a man would hang from by his arms. If his arm power gave out, he could always pray for pyramid power. Leonardo designed what may have been the first car. It stored its energy in a system of springs, like a clock motor, kind of like an early Volkswagen. He even designed a bicycle, which looked just like the bicycle used in 1900, over 400 years later. Da Vinci, like Wells and Verne, was a man of vision. While others saw the world as it was, they looked into their minds and saw something far more wonderful. The world as it would someday be. That's our story on the Profits. And of course, you know what this is. This is the board upon which we always play round 2. All right. Now, Johanna, since you came in first in round 1, you know what you're going to get. We're going to give you 4 hitmen, and here they are. Larry, for coming in second, we're going to give you 3 hitmen, and here they are. Now, we all know by now that that's 7. So to keep things nice and even, Sheila, we always give our champ 7 hitmen, and here they are. All right, remember, in this round, the champion is going to fight each challenger one at a time. Players, a right answer knocks out an opponent's man. A wrong answer knocks out one of your own men. But when a challenger loses a man, he or she must stop playing while the champion then takes on the other challenger. The champion is trying to wipe out all the challenger's men, and each challenger is trying to wipe out the champion's last man. The winner of the game will go on to try for a triple crown worth $10,000 in cash. Okay, Johanna, you came in first in round 1, so you get to decide who goes up against Sheila, you or Larry.
Larry.
Larry, all right. The music man up against Sheila. Let's see how you do, Larry. Here's the first question. Which prophet designed the first car? Sheila.
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci is right. Larry taking loses the man. We go back over to Johanna. Very quick return. Name the author who talked about space being three-dimensional, Johanna.
Burns.
No, H.G. Wells. That means Johanna's hit and loses the man. Back over to Professor Hill. Here's the question. Name the novel for which Verne is best remembered, Larry.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
You are right. Chance hit and loses the man. Okay, you broke the ice, Larry. Name the prophet who studied the way birds flew. Larry.
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci is right. Chance hit and loses another man. What was the title of H.G. Wells' first novel, Larry? The Time Machine, an invention. Okay, Larry, you're hit and lose a man. We go back over to Johanna. Larry's light, I suppose, goes off eventually, and we go over to Johanna with, hey, we go, we did it, what I got. Okay, here's the question. What did Da Vinci design that looked just like something used in 1900? Sheila.
The hot air balloon.
Nope, bicycles. You're hit and lose a man. Johanna's still with us with a three-hit man. Here's the next question. One Jules Verne novel ends with men orbiting what heavenly body? Johanna.
Space. Outer space.
No, the moon was the answer. That means you're hit and lose a man, even though Larry was trying to buzz in there. We're going to go over to Larry. Now is when you try to buzz in, Larry, after this question. And you better do it quick because you got one hit man left. And Professor Hill, if you don't get it right, you get ridden out of town on a rail. So you got one question. Well, you don't have one question. You could have a lot of questions.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Okay, Larry. Sheila, here's your question. Da Vinci thought of a parachute in what? Larry.
Pyramid.
In what shape? Pyramid is right. Sheila's hit and lose the man. Now, let me clarify a little bit. Larry, you have one hit man left. If Sheila gets the question correctly, you're out of the game. Here's the question. What did Wells define as the fourth dimension, Sheila?
Time.
Time is right, and Larry is hit, and he's out of the game. Back over to Johanna with her two hit men against Sheila's three. It's all up to you, Johanna. Here we go. What is the name of the captain in 20,000? Sheila.
Nemo.
Leagues Under the Sea. Nemo's right. Johanna's hit. Lose the man. Okay, Johanna, you got the same problem that Larry had, and that is if you have one hit man left, if Sheila answers the question correctly, she stays as the champion. Here it is. What was the occupation of Da Vinci's father? Sheila.
Lawyer.
Lawyer is right, and you're the champ once again, Sheila. Well done. A well-played game. Johanna, you got yourself $300 for being with us. You played a terrific game, and I thank you. And Larry, Professor Hill, you going to go back and do Music Man again?
No, I don't want to do that show.
Too tough. All right, you did real well here. You got yourself $200, and I thank you for being with us. And Sheila, our champ. You know where you're going. You're going to have an opportunity, another opportunity, for that Triple Crown worth $10,000 in cash. And we'll see if Sheila can do it right after this.
Real cheddar cheese and...
All right, once again, it's time for our Triple Crown. And Sheila, you worked real hard to get here, so you deserve this. You wanted to say hello to somebody?
I want to say hi to my niece, Kelly, who's 6 years old.
Hiya, Kelly. How are you? Hiya, Kelly. All right, Kelly, you watch carefully because Sheila's going to win $10,000. We know it. You got 60 seconds?
I sure do.
Okay, on that board over there, you see 8 columns, and each column is a number of circles. Now, you call out a column, and I'll read you a question based on either of the two stories you've heard today. If you're right, you'll change that first circle in that column into a money man, and I'll read you another question. I'll continue to read you questions until you change every circle in that column into a money man or until you make a mistake. Now, if you make a mistake or pass on a question, you've got to call out another column. You fill up one column with money men, you're going to win $1,000. You fill up 2 columns with money men, you're going to win $2,000. And finally, you fill up 3 columns with money men, and you're going to win $10,000 in cash. But Sheila, you're not going to see how many circles are in each column because we're going to keep you back to the board for the entire game as it is now. And, of course, we're going to reset that old board pattern. All right? Set the board. All right, the game and the clock will begin when you call out your first column. And Sheila, may all your columns have very few circles.
Column 2.
2, name the author who wrote From the Earth to the Moon.
Verne.
Right. After Harlowe eloped, what city did she settle in?
Hollywood.
Right. What nationality was actress Greta Nissen?
Swedish.
Right. There's your first column. Another. 3. Harlowe made how many movies with Laurel and Hardy?
1.
Another column.
Column 7.
7. Name the film in which Harlowe wore a wig.
Redheaded lady.
No, another column.
6.
6. Name the executive who Harlowe married while at MGM.
Verne.
Right. Who introduced Harlowe to Howard Hughes?
Column 8.
8. Specifically, what kind of scientist was Leo Szilard?
Column 5.
5. In what year did Harlowe die?
1937.
Right. Jules Verne was what nationality?
French.
Right. Da Vinci was a great scientist of what century?
15.
Right, there's your second column. Another. 4. What was the occupation of Harlowe's third husband?
Lawyer.
Another column.
Column 1.
Column 1. In a Da Vinci's car, energy was stored in a system of what?
Springs.
Right. From the Earth to the Moon was published in what year? Oh, you got awfully close. You got yourself $2,000. You had got to use up all the columns. A lot of fast questions. $2,000 for you, Sheila. Well done. We'll be right back right after this.